Yo guys, how are you doing? I hope you're all doing well. Today we're gonna do something I should have probably done a long time ago, but I haven't. Today I'm gonna answer the most commonly asked questions I get about IFA Paris. So I did my MBA degree in luxury brand management at IFA Paris. So my degree started in Shanghai. We did 2 semesters in Shanghai and then we moved to Paris, where we continued with another 2 semesters. And I graduated last June, meaning around 10-11 months ago.
How does it feel to graduate, Dana? Oh, don't get me started because really good, really bad, sad.
What are the classes like and what is the workload? So as I said, we had 4 semesters in total, and obviously the classes will change every semester. You probably have like 5 or 6 different classes per semester. The classes are always 3 hours long, meaning you never have more than 2 classes per day. Then you would have 6 hours of class and 1 hour of lunch break. The program is divided into regular classes, so like branding, consumer behavior, anthropology of luxury, what else, finance. As far as I remember, you usually have around maybe 30 hours of the same class per semester. And then you also have seminars. So every semester you have some seminars as well. And the difference between regular classes and seminars are, well, regular classes are longer and you have exams at the end of regular classes. And at the end of a seminar, you don't have any exams. And seminars are usually 3 days long. And during these 3 days, you have the same seminar all day. So usually 6 hours. The seminars are very cool. We had seminars in gastronomy, hospitality, jewelry making, or luxury jewelry, what else? Perfumes. And usually what happens is that IFA invites experts in the industry and they come over, and for 3 days you just have the same seminar. Yeah, and they're really cool. Like, that was something I really enjoyed about IFA. As I said, the regular classes always end with 2 exams. You have group exams and then you have individual exams. In general, I would say that IFA focuses a lot on group work, which is obviously good, because at the end of the day, when you're gonna come out in the real world, you're also gonna do things together with other people. So that is a really good thing, that IFA teaches you how to work with other people. And since school is very international, in my class, basically everyone was from a different country. We had people from basically all over, Spain, Russia, Thailand, Malaysia, Hong Kong, what else? India. I mean, a lot of different nationalities. Basically everyone is from somewhere else. But my point is that when you work with people from all around the world, your work ethics and your work habits might be quite different. So at IFA, you will definitely experience what is it like to work in very multicultural environments and to work with people who are not necessarily working the same way as you do. So back to the exams. The exams, as I said, they're individual exams and group exams. Group exams are usually ending with presentations. So that's something you have a lot at IFA. There are a lot of presentations. Individual exams are most of the time essay-based, meaning it's not like you sit in a classroom and you have a test and you have a certain amount of hours. No, you don't really have exams like that at IFA. Most of the time you're even like sort of able to choose your own topics, or you have a topic but you can, for example, choose your own industry. So they are quite flexible, so they allow you to focus on the industry that you're interested in. For example, during my time at IFA, I used to do a lot about hospitality and luxury hotels because that's something I'm really interested in. And I had a friend in my class who was really into cars, and she did a lot about that. So yeah, some people are into fashion, obviously. One sec, that's my cat. So he didn't go to IFA, but he can participate. Did you go to IFA? No? So in general, I think that's like a really good thing about IFA, that they really allow you to be quite flexible with the essays/exams that you do, so you can focus on industries that you are interested in. Obviously, it depends on the program you're doing. Right now, we're just talking about luxury brand management because that's what I did. And obviously, luxury can be so many different things. It can be jewelry, it can be watches, it can be cars, fashion. And that's also something important to keep in mind, that if you're choosing this program, it's not going to be all about fashion. I think some people have this like perception perception of luxury being only like, you know, fashion or like accessories and shit like that, but it's not. It's also, you know, hotels and cars and all these other things. People often also ask me if IFA teaches you based on like real life examples, and yes, absolutely, everything is taught based on real life examples. We did a lot of case studies, and whenever you're doing anything really, you work with like real brands and you're trying to solve pretty much like real issues. I remember a group exam where we had to sort of pretend as if we worked for Burberry, and we had to come up with what sort of CSR activities Burberry should be doing. Or we had a visual merchandise project where we basically had to walk all around Paris and take pictures and document the shops and the window displays, and you know, do our own like visual merchandising analysis. Or we had to choose a brand and go to the shop of this brand, and then later, based on the current trends, we were supposed to recommend, you know, the changes in the display in the shop and in interior design and all that. So basically everything you do and everything you learn is like based on real life examples. Besides classes, another cool thing at IFA were field trips. So they would call them field trips, but it's basically like doing things after classes, sometimes before classes. But one thing I must say is that we had a lot of field trips in Shanghai, and that was probably my favorite thing about IFA. Basically almost every week we would go to Hermes exhibition, we would go to creative agency, we went to Glamour magazine. Yeah, like we did so many different cool activities outside of school where we would just go to different companies and exhibitions and stuff like that, where people would tell us about their job, what they do. So yeah, that was absolutely amazing. However, I must say that we didn't really do that in Paris. We had maybe like 2 field trips that I remember during these 2 semesters, so not a lot at all. If you want to see what we did, I have a whole playlist that I called IFA Paris, and that's basically all my videos I filmed in Shanghai, then later in Paris when I went to IFA. So in a lot of my vlogs from Shanghai, you can definitely like see some of the, you know, field trips that we did. And I told you didn't go to IFA. How is the campus like? So IFA is a very small school, and that's something to keep in mind if you want that like sort of, you know, university life. That's not really where you go. Check out my video from Paris to see the Paris campus, and then yeah, my Shanghai videos to see the Shanghai campus. Does IFA provide student housing? No, there's no dorms, or IFA doesn't have dorms. It's a very small school, as I said. In Shanghai, we didn't get any help with housing. We were responsible for finding our own places to live, but in Paris we did get help. IFA sort of like has this person who helps you to find a room at a student residence, or there are a couple of different student residences around Paris you can choose from. Just keep in mind that those student residences are usually not very nice, but that's Paris. Nice places in Paris cost a lot. 2, they are usually, if not all of them actually, they're sort of like outside of Paris. So yeah, if you live in one of those student residences, you're not basically going to be in the center of Paris. I lived in one of the student residences that I got through IFA for a couple of months, and it was right outside of 19th, and 19th district is where IFA is located. So I had around 2.5 kilometer walk to school, so that was really nice. It is like luxury in Paris to be able to walk to school instead of taking metro. However, the neighborhood was not very nice. It was actually not nice at all. I obviously still loved it because I made a lot of friends and all that, but yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. Are there any internship options during the program? So yes, IFA does give you some opportunities for internships, but of course it's not like it's enough for everyone. You would have to compete with other students, and I have to say that in France, in Paris, a lot of these internships required French. I think it's still possible to get some if you don't speak French, but it can definitely be more challenging. But that's Paris, that's normal, which is fair enough. French is the language commonly used in Paris, so that's just the way it is. IFA also gives you a lot of opportunities to intern during fashion weeks. So it's kind of up to you if you really consider that internships, because they're usually like 3 days long or a week long, basically just for the time of fashion week. And it's usually just like, you know, being a dresser and helping to dress models, or just like doing whatever they need you to do backstage. Of course, unpaid, but if you're into fashion, that can definitely be a cool experience. Do you get opportunities to go to fashion shows during fashion week? So for some reason, a lot of people think that if you go to fashion school, you're just like gonna be invited to Chanel fashion show. That is not the case. You're not going to be invited to Chanel fashion show. But yeah, I mean, you don't really get opportunity to go to fashion shows, at least not through IFA. It's not like they can get invites for all their students. You can go to IFA fashion show, but otherwise, no, it's not that easy to get into those shows, especially if we're talking Paris, and I guess we are talking Paris. Same in Shanghai, really. You know, there are a lot of fashion students in both of these cities. If all fashion students or luxury students would want to go to fashion shows would be just like filled up with students. Did you make friends at IFA? Oh, those can be my friends from IFA, maybe. Who that knows? Yes, I did make a lot of friends at IFA. I met so many great people at IFA, both in Shanghai and then later in Paris. A cool thing was that we already, when we started in Shanghai, we were 2 classes, fashion business MBA and luxury brand management MBA. So we sort of like all together started in Shanghai, and then we moved to Paris. So when we were moving to Paris, we already knew each other, we're already friends. So it wasn't really like, you know, moving to a different country by yourself. And I would probably say that people I met at IFA are some of my best friends right now. Was it easy to settle down in Paris? Most of the time people ask me about Paris. Not that many people ask me about Shanghai. I don't know why, or I know why, but was it easy to settle down in Paris? I really loved Shanghai. So it was difficult for me in the beginning because I really didn't want to leave Shanghai. Like, I literally loved my life in Shanghai, so I really didn't want to leave. So in that way, it was a little difficult to get used to Paris. And living in Shanghai and living in Paris is very different. Everything is more expensive in Paris. Going out is not as fun. Metro sucks, yeah. But a huge plus was for sure the fact that we sort of all together moved to Paris. So we were all going through the same thing at the same time. We all missed Shanghai. We're all trying to find a new place in Paris. I would say the most difficult thing about Paris is, well, getting used to very high prices, and B, finding an apartment, a place to stay. As I said, IFA does help you to find student residents. However, those student residents are not great. They're not, you know, that nice place to live. So if you want to live in more like Parisian environment, and you want to live in more central areas, I'm not saying you're gonna live right in the center, but in a more central-ish area, you have to sort of figure it out by yourself, and it can be quite difficult and quite expensive. Is it easy to find a job in France after finishing the program? Well, if you don't speak French, no. If you speak French, then yeah, sure. But yeah, as I said, you have to speak French to find a job. Especially in fashion and luxury industry, there's so many people wanting to get into these industries. These industries are super competitive. So yeah, there are enough people speaking French. So if you don't speak that, it is a huge, huge minus. Will I get a job in luxury industry after the program? So this is a very difficult question to answer because it obviously all depends on your previous experience. If you have no experience working in luxury or in any creative fields, it's gonna be difficult for you to get a job in luxury industry. One thing is for sure is that only because you do this program, it's not gonna guarantee you that you will get into luxury. It all depends on your previous experience. I would almost say that nowadays, unfortunately, your work experience is more important than school. I personally don't work in luxury. I work in influencer marketing, so I still sort of use a lot of the things that I learned at IFA at my current job. And yeah, a lot of people that graduated with me also don't necessarily work for like luxury brands right now. If you want to get into luxury or fashion, working for one of the big names, known brands, you'll most likely, 99%, you'll have to start with an internship. So if you want to work for like less known brands, whatever, maybe then it's more possible to get an actual position, actual job. But for big names, you need to start with internships. And something to keep in mind is that these internships are usually 6 months to 1 year long. A lot of them are 1 year, and they don't really pay you very well. They pay you very badly. You basically work for free. Yeah, like let's say you work for a big name in Paris and you get paid like 1,000 euro, which is nowhere near enough to support yourself in Paris. You probably need twice as much, maybe a little less if you're really tight with your budget. I think in general, a lot of people that message me have this perception that doing this program at IFA, or pretty much doing a program like that anywhere else in other school, will just guarantee them a job in fashion or in luxury. But that is not the case. Those industries are very demanding and they're very competitive. There are a lot of people who want to work in these industries because, you know, they are quite like appealing and shiny, and people think it's fun to work in fashion or luxury. So that's why it is difficult to get your foot in. But I think once you get your foot in, it's gonna be easier. Some people also ask me if IFA will help them to get a job after they graduate. The answer is no. You're responsible for finding your own job, but I honestly personally don't know any school that will find a job for you. I don't know if that's how it works in some countries, but no. I mean, that's how it is with every school I know pretty much. You graduate and you're responsible for yourself. You have to find your own job. School is not gonna find jobs for every student. Like, imagine, that would be kind of too easy. It would be nice, but like life would be a little too easy then, I guess. And finally, the most commonly asked questions: would you recommend me to go to IFA? I can only tell you that I had freaking amazing time at IFA. I mean, I made a video called "Doing this MBA degree was the best decision of my life." So yes, I absolutely loved it. I had amazing time. I met amazing people. I traveled the world. I lived in 2 very different countries, and I mean, I wouldn't give up my experience for anything in the world. I'm so grateful that I got the chance to do it. It was basically like one big adventure, like literally one of the probably most amazing adventures I will have in life. I don't know. Hopefully there are more coming, but you know. However, I heard that IFA apparently doesn't have the same program that I did, or they don't have it with the Shanghai campus. So IFA has 3 campuses, did I even say that? The main one is in Paris, then there's another one in Shanghai and one in Istanbul as well. So as I said, I started my degree in Shanghai, then we continued to Paris. And there was a lot of differences between the Shanghai campus and the Paris campus. I personally preferred the Shanghai campus. Everything was just, well, better organized. I like the classes more. I like the teachers more. I like living in Shanghai more because I think it's just like a more student-friendly city with great nightlife. You can afford to take taxi at night. People are nicer. And so my point is basically that it's difficult for me to say, yeah, I would recommend you to do the program that I did, since I know that the program changed. So it's difficult for me to recommend anyone to do the full program in Paris because I didn't do it and I preferred the Shanghai campus. And basically all my friends, like everyone I went to class with or everyone that came from Shanghai campus, would probably agree with me, will most likely agree with me, that Shanghai campus was better. But of course, the fact that I liked Shanghai more is also just like, it depends on your personal preferences. It depends on what kind of person you are. I can imagine that people who are, for example, more interested in fashion specifically, maybe will enjoy Paris more because Paris, after all, is the freaking fashion capital. So yeah, it all depends on you. It's really such an individual thing. Anyways, I think that is it. I hope I answered your question. If you have any more questions, please let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope it helped and I see you soon.